Anybody not ready? Okay. So about 2 months ago, the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office began a pilot program with the Pinellas County Construction Licensing Board, under which the Sheriff's Office would begin the process of coordinating investigations into unlicensed contracting in Pinellas County. As we know, these complaints are often very serious matters because the unlicensed contractors are scamming innocent citizens and either doing shoddy work or not doing work at all after having received advance payment. And unfortunately, for many years, there was very limited or no enforcement of the criminal laws in Pinellas County, and that these unlicensed contractors were simply civilly fined by the Construction Licensing Board. These fines were not a deterrent to ripping people off, and the violators often wrote off the fines as a cost of doing unlicensed business. But by the arrest today, what we hope to convey is that it's a new day, it's a new era, and we have started and we will continue to enforce the criminal laws of the state to prevent these predatory practices by unlicensed contractors in Pinellas County. Since the Sheriff's Office took over the Licensing Board investigations in August, we have initiated over 220 investigations. And today we're announcing charges against 20 unlicensed individuals who face 58 different charges involving ripping people off, performing shoddy unlicensed work, and engaging in many cases with serious criminal activity. The charges include grand theft, unlicensed contracting, and workers' compensation fraud. In one case, an individual who's well known to the licensing board who really fit that definition of somebody who just engaged in the conduct and wrote it off as a cost of doing business, it's Richard Niger. And we have with us this morning, and you have an opportunity afterward to ask questions of the victim in that case if you want to. And this woman who's here with us, 90 years old, a widow, and she engaged Niger to conduct some painting, plaster work, and pool rescreening. And he, in essence, stole over $26,000 from her. And to just give you an idea as to the type of conduct that these unlicensed contractors, these scammers, are engaged in, the victim had given him a check, and he went back to her and said the check got destroyed in the wash and asked for a second check, and then he cashes both checks. So that's the type of activity that's going on with these people. They're thieves, they're scammers, they're ripping people off. That's why they should be licensed, and that's why they should be regulated. In another case, Brandon Rana was paid over $20,000 to renovate a condominium that included electrical, plumbing, air conditioning, and other work. And it was done so poorly that the victim had to have it totally redone by yet another contractor. So the message to these people is stop it, knock it off. You're going to go to jail, and there's a new day and a new attitude toward enforcement in this county for these unlicensed contractors. And we're going to see that it stops, and we're going to hold these people accountable. We're going to continue to conduct these investigations with our partners at the Construction Licensing Board. The Florida Department of Financial Services and Lieutenant Rivera is here. They're an important partner for us in this because one of the felony charges involves not having workers' comp insurance and committing workers' compensation fraud, and that's an important aspect of this to hold these people accountable as well. There's no more simply paying a fine, writing it off as a cost of doing business, and moving on to the next victim. So as you can see here today with the roundup that we've done here this morning of a bunch of these people, of the 20, I think we have well over half of them already in custody, and we're going to work on getting the rest of them in custody today, as well as continuing the investigation of many other cases that we have in the pipeline. We've been able to, and we'll pass out to the media, we have a summary sheet of all of the charges for these individuals and what the activity entails. And when you take a look at it, is that it's very troubling, it really is, it's very disturbing. to see that people are having literally hundreds of thousands of dollars of work done by these unlicensed contractors who take deposits, don't do the work, don't show up, or do it at such substandard and shoddy level that it has to be redone by somebody else. And there's a reason why the laws are in place and the ordinances and the regulations is to ensure that people do the work in a competent way and that they're regulated. And when they're trying to circumvent the regulatory process by representing themselves as being licensed contractors, and even some of them put fake license numbers on the signs on their doors of their vehicles. So they are engaged in an intentional and a concerted action to simply just rip people off. And it's going to stop. And today's the beginning of that process where we stop them from doing this. So with that, I'll take any questions anybody has. If you have questions for Lieutenant Rivera from DFS, she's happy to answer any questions. And of course, we have a victim here that's willing to answer any questions that you have as well.
Sheriff, are you surprised by the level of problems you found so soon and so fast, like after 2 months?
Unfortunately, I'm surprised in a sense, but not in others, because when we first got into this, it became clear so early on that they were getting away with this with no accountability, there were no repercussions, and that it was a out of control problem. I'm shocked by it. Surprised, probably no, because I think I saw this coming as we started peeling back the onion here and started seeing what was going on and the magnitude of the problem, and that there are some real hot pockets in Pinellas County, especially in the Gulf Beaches and in St. Petersburg, where there's just a ton of people out there that are engaging in this unlicensed rip-off scheme. So I'm troubled by it, and if you asked me that question probably 6 months or a year ago, I'd say, yeah, I'm shocked by it, because I had no idea it was occurring. Because we had never been made aware of this by the Construction Licensing Board. They had never come to us and asked for help, asked for assistance. I assumed as an independent entity, the Construction Licensing Board was conducting these investigations and the people were being held accountable and responsible. But as it turns out, it wasn't being done, and the problem got so out of control. So I'm troubled by it, but we're going to get it fixed, and we're going to hold these people accountable, and the nonsense is going to stop.
These guys look like they're some of them, pretty good at what they do in scamming these folks, preying on the good nature of somebody trusting them. Any advice for folks in Pinellas County from this point forward of what they can do to protect themselves before this happens to them?
Well, there's a lot of signs out there that people need to look for, and certainly if the deal sounds too good to be true, it probably is. I also would caution people, and I understand the way construction works, and sometimes they need money for draws, et cetera, on the work, but you need to be careful about paying ahead of time. Make sure that the people are licensed, and you can call, you can check and verify. If you have any questions, is to call the Construction Licensing Board, verify that the person is a licensed contractor. Don't take things at face value, and do some due diligence, do some homework on who you're letting into your home or into your business, and letting them do work on your property. So don't just take it at face value, because unfortunately these predators are out there preying on people and have a devised scheme to rip them off. So people just need to be very careful about it. Everything is not as it appears to be on the surface, and even if they have a truck and it's got a sign on the side of it and it's got a license number, a lot of times unfortunately it's a fake name with a fake license number. And they're out there, so you need to do some due diligence, and you need to check and you need to verify before you engage somebody, especially bringing them into your home, and especially before you give them a considerable sum of money.
Is there any way you can backtrack and go back to cases that are long past that weren't, investigated by the Construction Licensing Board, and now go back and investigate those cases and make more arrests?
Well, we're looking at them. It's very hard to do because of really the lack of organized case management that didn't exist before. But a lot of the people that were doing it before are the same people that are doing it now. So we're announcing today arrests of 20 individuals. But remember, we have initiated well over 220 cases. So there's a lot that is ongoing. I'd say that this is the tip of the iceberg. We're only 2 months into this, so this is what we're able to do and able to announce today, 60 days in essence into it. And the first few weeks of it was more organizational and just getting our feet on the ground. So when we're able to identify 20 individuals with 58 different charges and all of what you see in the outline as far as the scope and the magnitude and the gravity of the crimes that they are committing and the people that they are victimizing, is that it tells us, because we're able to do so much so fast, what the severity of the problem is and what needs to be addressed. So we're trying to, at this point, put the cork in the barrel that's leaking pretty fast and trying to slow it down. If we can go back and look at some of those, we'll do that, but I think that as we are moving forward, a lot of it will take care of itself. But there's a lot in the pipeline too.
As you look at somebody like Darlene here and, know that she made this arrest of this guy that ripped her off,
Right.
It's got to make you feel good to see her here now and think, at least we've got that guy and he won't do this to somebody else.
Well, absolutely. Anytime that we're able to hold somebody accountable for stealing from somebody and for hopefully maybe some way that she'll get restitution because of the criminal case and be made whole for what this predator did, it of course makes us feel good but we really wish that she wasn't a victim at all. We really wish that none of these people were victims, and really wish that people would just go operate legitimate businesses, do the right thing, and there's enough work to be done out there. Just do it the right way, and no need to go stealing from people and ripping them off. Just engage in legitimate, productive, profitable businesses, and everything's fine. So I'm glad to be able to hold them accountable, but I just wish they wouldn't do it at all and that we could stop it. And that's the message I really want to send, is that those of you out there who are doing it, knock it off, because we're going to lock you up, we're going to put you in jail, and we are going to hold you accountable. So get on the right side of this and engage in legitimate business practices, not these deceptive, predatory practices.
Sheriff, given that you've committed 6 months of a pilot program and given all the troubles at the licensing board, how do you move forward once that 6 month comes up?
Well, we're going to have discussions about it and talk to the interim director, and really some of it depends. We need to see what the legislature is going to do as far as the structure of the licensing board goes, and whether it goes to the county, whether it stays as an independent entity, what the framework will be for conducting investigations. It's going to require some discussion and some evaluation, and what our role is or is not as it moves forward. I think we need to know a little bit more about what the governance structure of that licensing board will be and how we may fit into that. Anybody have anything else? Okay, all right, thank you.